So we try to work really hard on establishing a really confirmed reaction to a little pressure on the bridle, a little pressure on the halter, maybe even touching them on the neck, which we can do. I don't know if you can do that in the Welsh world. Or even following a little hand cue of, hey, touch my hand with your nose right now a little bit, all of the target training idea. We will demonstrate backwards and forwards from a signal in order to facilitate the standing up for confirmation for the judge. Hey, big man. She's going to flip around so she's facing correctly. Generally, our sport horse judges would start on this side of the... He has an itch.
I'm sorry.
Rude.
Does he know this is important?
So she's going to just play with him a little bit about moving forward and moving back. And whether you handle your horse yourself or you hand it to a handler, we appreciate that they know how to move quietly back and quietly forward. So this would be the way that Melissa would operate the pony in order to get his feet correct for the judge, which let's stick with that if you can. So he obviously demonstrated that he can go forward and back from a signal. From here, we'd want to, I'm going to skip ahead a little bit. We're going to talk about evaluating how he stands for his particular confirmation, whether he's narrow or wide, or whether he has maybe a little bit of a lateral deviation. That's where you would use these, exactly what she's doing, kind of moving him back and forth. Here I would move him because he's a little standing out behind himself. So the next thing that we work on when we're at home is a technique we call mirroring. And Melissa, if you want to just walk the walk triangle, and as you're going around the walk triangle, you don't have to be exact, but I like to play with the stride on the horse, that I can bring the stride a bit shorter and rock its weight back onto the hindquarter, especially here as we turn. Small steps, small steps, small steps. And now the big walk along the long side, which we'll talk about, and now another small steps just to check in that he does it. And I would use my whip a little bit more with this particular fellow because he is not quite as familiar with your body positioning, Melissa, as maybe some of ours might be. So use your whip, and we'll talk about this a lot more later. Use your whip. We like to think of it as a gate. We close the gate and we open the gate. So let's do that walk oval again. And you can use it up closer to their nose or face, or I would think with him maybe closer to his chest. So swing it around and slow him down, and then open it, and then he goes bigger. So if this is all firmly in place when you get to the horse show, you have these opportunities to rebalance the horse and put the horse back on its quarters as it's making a turn, or maybe he's a little excited and he wants to walk a bit briskly and a little tense. If he can clue into your body attitude and then open it back up in a nice big sweepy step, if that's firmly in place before you get there, you have a fighting chance that you're going to be able to deal with some of his anxieties when he gets there. One of the things that's really important to me as a trainer, even as a dressage trainer, but as an in-hand trainer too, is that the ponies and the horses are quite familiar with things going on in the ring. It's not a cathedral environment at a horse show. In case you've never been there, it's mass hysteria. There are ponies running loose, there are ponies screaming, there are usually ponies on their hind legs, maybe their front legs, maybe no legs, that's happened too. If they're accustomed to being in the arena here with 6 horses going around and 2 horses lunging, and they don't think that people on horses are centaurs out to kill them, they will be a lot more comfortable at the horse show. So at any given time in our arena, you might find 3 babies tied to the wall, and they might stand there for an hour, or they might stand there for 4 hours. We call it the meditation wall over there. They do a lot of thinking about life. So you can see the nose prints along the wall. So by the time mine get to the horse show, they stand quietly in their stall because they've been in their stall a lot, tied up. And they also are comfortable standing like they're both doing. Good boy. He's like, yeah, I've done this. Fable, she's so good. Moving on. Any questions about any of that? So that's your homework. Don't come to the show without it, because you're going to look unprepared. You might still look unprepared, because all of these things that work at home, they may not work when you get there. Yeah.
What do you do? Is your stallions and your youngsters talking a lot? Is there anything?
Sometimes. You know as well as I do, you can think that you have it solved. You can get to the horse. Look at Cardi. He talked to Chelina today. He walks past that mare every day, but this is all exciting and he thinks he might be getting lucky, but he's not. There's no magic wand, but you, same strategy, keep him focused on you. I mean, for me, when I'm on Cardi's back, he wouldn't dream of that because it is work. In hand is a little trickier, especially for me with the stallions when the mares and foals are around. So I don't know if you guys have this benefit at the Welsh shows, but at our sport horse shows, if you have a show manager that's ever seen a stallion in their lifetime and doesn't think that all babies come from test tubes, they will separate the mare section from the stallion section. That probably doesn't happen at Welsh shows in my recollection. So now, actually USDF now has a guideline that says it's recommended that you do the stallions apart from the mares with foals because those seem to be a big trigger for our boys. The colts, the out in the arena time is what I find to be the best, and if I frankly have to go to a little open show down at the fairgrounds and have a discussion, you know, they're stallions and they're meant to discuss things with girls, but for me, work is work. And we talk about that a lot, and a little mistake is not a big deal. And for me, truthfully, if they talk a little bit but keep their feet in the right place, I can be a little flexible. When they lose their noodle and turn into whirling dervishes, not so much fun. Your equipment. Again, this might differ a little bit from the Welsh shows. USDF requires that babies are shown in halters with leads. Chains are allowed, and there's a variety of chain configurations. You can find diagrams on USDF. Horses that are 2 and older are required, this is not optional, they are required to wear bridles with a snaffle bit. Again, on USDF you can find a list of how you can arrange the reins. They have a lot of options. Some people prefer the bit connector, which gives you 1 lead rope. I don't like that. I don't have any directional control. So I prefer 2 reins, but different people prefer different things. I would recommend for almost everybody a longer lead line than 3 feet, or 3 feet becomes very short very quickly when you're looking up going, oh gosh, this is not going well at all. And a whip. And whips are also, you don't have to have it. I think it's a good idea. Not because you're hoping to have to smack him, but because it can be that extension of your arm. It can be an attention getter behind your back. And it can be a little friendly motivator if A, they're lazy, or B, they're too damn scared to go to the other end of the arena. Gloves and good shoes. Gloves are optional. I don't wear them. I don't like them. I forgot them. I had to go get them. If I didn't have to ever wear gloves again, I'd be a happy girl. But good shoes, not optional. You are going to be running, and unless you're him, you're going to be running way faster than you probably run on a daily basis. So get good shoes and practice with them, because it is different running in sand than it is running around your house. So run around in the sand a few times before you get to the horse show. It can be kind of embarrassing when you fall down. Ask me how I know this. Multiple times. Lastly, and this is really important for the sensitive flowers, which Fable is not being right now, which is nice. A lot of fillies particularly have this issue, but our beautiful friend Cardi has this too. Practice with your show equipment. If you buy them a beautiful bridle with a beautiful brow band, sometimes they no likey it, and they shake their head and they pin their ears and they turn their head sideways because it doesn't fit them like they want it to fit. So find this out at home, not 5 minutes before you're supposed to be in the arena. Ask me how I know that. Practice at home. Also, your new bridle leathers can be a bit slick, so you want to make sure that those are oiled up enough that they don't slip right out of your hands. So generally the judge is on this side, and we do what we call an open position, where the legs that are closest to the judge are perpendicular to the ground, and the legs that are farthest from the judge are slightly to the inside or back and forward of the judge's legs, if you will. You want to be careful when you're setting this up that the horse is as perpendicular to the ground as possible with the near cannon bones, and Alicia's done a really good job of that. The mare is darn near perfectly perpendicular, so that's quite good. From there, the judge is going to do a little walk around, similar to everybody else's shows. And in the moment, Alicia has Fable standing a bit wide at the base, so she looks a little bit base wide and also maybe a little bit toed out. So maybe back her up and pull her forward a step or two. Use your fingers. There you go. There you go. Yeah, good. And that's much better, Alicia. Good job. So then the judge is going to carry on to this side and evaluate from this side. Each judge that I've scribed for starts at different places. Lots of judges will start with the angle of the shoulder and the set of the neck to the withers and then evaluate the top line. But for me, why that's important is if you can, which I think you can, reset her now so that she's in open position on this side as well. So just back her up a half a step. Use your hand on her chest. Good. So I'm going to go behind. Alicia, do you feel good about where her hind legs are? Or do you feel like she's standing a little bit cow-hopped? That's it. And knowing that the judge is going to be coming right back around where they started, you can kind of have a plan in your mind that we're going to have to set back up how we were originally. Good girl, Fable. Maybe another half a step back there, kiddo. Alicia, another half a step. That depends on their conformation. That also depends on what you got, right? Some horses, if you move them forward, then that encourages them to step into your space, which gets not fun. If you kind of keep them staying in their space bubble away from your space bubble, that works better, so a little bit more backing up. But for me, I also try to think about the conformation. If the hind leg wants to be too much under, don't back them up, that makes it worse. If it wants to be out behind, backing it up can sometimes talk it into coming it under a little bit more. The other thing that sometimes when you back them up, they get a little bit behind themselves in the forehand, so then you have to kind of inch the front legs back forward to make it not so much standing under the shoulder. So now I'm... Fable, are you getting bored? One more half step. And see now Fable's actually demonstrating really well the last note here, or the last couple of notes. I'm sorry, I won't stand right in front of you guys. Sorry, Tori. They're baby horses, and the judge can see through a little squirming, a little calling, a little squirming, maybe a lot of squirming. You act like you're having fun no matter what. You act like it's a baby horse. What am I going to do? You know, as long as they're not on their hind legs, smile at the judge and be like, hey, you know, life happens. So the last thing is you can cheat with that a little bit. In USDF shows, you can have a bit of plastic in your pocket or some keys or maybe some candy. I've even picked up dirt and offered them dirt to get a little bit more of a healthy expression to the ears, a little bit more presentation in the forehand, and to keep them focused on me and not leaving the building. Alicia, you want to trade with Melissa? Okay, so you're going to set up just like she just did. Everyone need one more opportunity to see what open stance looks like. I'm going to bring that right for it. Yep, good. I'd stick with that. With this age of baby, I'd stick with that. So I'm introducing our little rock stars here. This is Posh Golden Opportunity. He's a 2-year-old by Posh Opposites Attract and out of Posh Dance the Night Away. He's a half Welsh Section B, bred by Ron and Valerie Dickey, who are here? No? Okay, they're not here. And now owned by Cindy DeBrino, CD Performance Horses. I didn't know you were in Tualatin. Performance Pony, sorry, it slipped out. And this is Melissa Frazier, my right-hand man. Melissa, you are going to do the walk triangle. And in the walk triangle, you can go. In the walk triangle, on the short sides, meaning the sides coming toward and away from the judge, we're looking for correctness. So Melissa's walking rather conservatively to keep him walking as square as possible, no lateral deviations left or right, winging in, winging out, or stepping wide behind if you happen to have a boy with lots of equipment back there. On the long side, and we're going to keep walking this walk triangle, so we're going to demonstrate that again. On the long side, what we want to see is an actual lengthening of the stride, a powering up of the hind leg, maybe a little lightening of the forehand because of the powering up of the hind leg. We want to see good freedom in the shoulder and the hind leg. We want to see good impulsion, but not hurrying. Usually with a horse, it's difficult to hurry unless they're in a hurry. With a pony or with a baby, it's really easy to hurry. So my long legs I have to kind of temper down when I'm riding a bit, or when I'm walking a smaller one. So now really turn it on, show me my 9. Oh, what a good boy. Even more. I think he's got more. There you go. We look for a little bit of overstep where the hind foot of the horse tracks in front of the front hoof print. The more, the better, relatively speaking. Good for you. Ready to do some trotting? Ready to get organized? So again, the short side for correctness, so fairly conservative. Woo, yeehaw. Fairly conservative, trying to keep him straight. And then the long side for power. More, more, more. More, more, more. Good. And then a half halt to prepare to turn. Whoa. And he comes trotting. He's like, I got this gig. Good boy. And a walk break from Melissa. And Alicia, you want to bring Fable down and demonstrate the same thing? Good. So Alicia has this not unusual circumstance here, but she's got Fable square in front. The hind legs are quite good. I might sometimes stick with the square in front if everything else was good, but even from here I can see that the mare stopped a little base wide again. So see if you can't, I would have backed up the right front, but that's okay too. Fable, be cooperative. Good. Yep, you could stick to that. Once she gets her body square, she'll be okay. So again, the judge is walking around. Are you going to reset for me on this side, Alicia? Fable says nope. And that happens. If this happens and the horse gets a bit sideways, it doesn't matter. The judge is going to follow you anyways. Fable may need a Jessica moment. Okay, so this will be my one lap for the day. Oh, good. Good job. Nice work. So I'm going to take her from you. Thank you. Okay. You remember that we know each other. There you go. Good girl. Good girl. Okay, so again, the short side, hopefully my microphone won't squeak for us here. Short side, we want to talk about that straightness business. And then right about here, half halter back, say get back on your tush. And then nice big walk. There we go, and I might continue on a little bit farther if she's really walking, and then make my turn. That's again that gait idea that we talked about earlier, where the gait can be either the brakes or can also be the steering wheel if she needs a good girl turn. Good girl. And then short side for correctness. And I'm going a little bit wide so I have lots of room. And I continued on because that was nice and rhythmic and in the right track. And I continued right past the judge for that nice last good look at her good swing and elasticity. And I bring her right back over here to not stand like a doofus. Good. Good, bravo. Yes. Never into you, always away. But I couldn't see where Yana was, so I didn't want to run her over. Alicia? Always in the show ring, you're turning away for turning over there, but honestly, I was going and I didn't want to turn into Yana. I didn't know how fast my brakes were going to work. She can go. Good girl.
Introduce this one, Cardi Dog.
Oh, yeah. Oh, come back. I forgot to introduce Fable. This is Fable, FF. She's by Cardi and out of a Dutch mare named by Juventus named Sheer Bliss. She's half Welsh and half Dutch, bred by Ginger Mac of Flying Feathers, who's right there. And now owned by Phil and Allison, who are, there's Phil, where's Allison? Oh, she's getting ready. A four-smear equestrian in Victoria, Canada. Ta-da. This is Alicia Kuykendall. I think I introduced her earlier. Oh, princess. If you have some options, not too far spread in the front legs because it looks stupid, right? If you can get them just a bit offset, 2 or 3 inches is rather ideal. Doesn't always work out like that. You take what you can get. There's the ideal and there's what's possible in the time span that you have while the judge is looking at you. 2 to 3 inches is generally ideal. If it stopped perfect, but it's a smidge more, I'd leave it.
Because in the Welsh, with double judging, we often have one judge at each
Yes,
side.
ma'am.
And so a lot of people just go for square, but that's...
Well, a sport horse judge will frequently tell you to move if you stop too square. And you know what? That's fine. You're not penalized if they tell you you need to reset or take a half a step forward. If I had a perfect setup and I was a bit square, oh yes, I would definitely leave it. And then, you know, the stickler judges would probably say, can you please step the horse back? But at least they've already had a harmonious first impression. For me, that harmonious first impression is that's your get-go right there. You know, that's where your 8 comes right onto the paper, and then if it moves from there, they're unlikely to take the score down. But if you stop and the horse is completely wonky, you start at a 7 and you have to move up from there, and that's tricky. Once the judge looks at it, the judge is looking at you for 2 minutes maximum. They make a decision, they're going to stick to that. So my first impression, it better be good. The other thing I think that is valuable is the in-hand showing gets the horse really sort of prepared for its life at a horse show as a riding horse. And I will say that without fail, the horses that we've shown in hand, of course, as 3-year-olds now freshly under saddle, or 4-year-olds or what have you, they go to the horse show and they're like, oh, great, another horse show, and they're completely nonplussed. The ones that we haven't shown in hand, they might be good, but they might be raving lunatics. So for me, the added value is that they are already good in the horse show environment, and I do put that in the verbiage of my ads. Say, this horse has been to 4 horse shows, he was quiet as a mouse, a video is great, you know, he already knows how to clip, he already knows how to trailer, ours already know how to tie, you know, they already have some skill sets in place, and I think that definitely adds value. People are grateful to know that they're not going to have to deal with a screaming idiot at the horse shows.